Let's continue on with the build and move on to bag C, where we will be constructing the steering and bulkhead assembly. And like always, let us cut open the bags and remove the contents onto the table, where we will be releasing and finding our bell cranks, Ackerman plate, and servo horns. Got some experience cutting the bags open, and just laying the contents on the hard table is fine. You want to be mindful not to lose any of these small pieces, as they are essential to the build. Maybe a towel or a mat on the top will help prevent rolling these parts. Let's refer to the manual when constructing the build. That's well illustrated and can help visually with the process. Start off with our Ackerman plate, where we're going to be inserting 3 of the 6mm ball studs. Now these are housed along with 2 washers on the front side, and you can use the 2mm hex driver to thread the ball stud into the Ackerman plate. Be sure not to over tighten. You don't want to strip the joint, strip the housing and casing. Very easy to do so. You get overzealous trying to tighten and tighten. Snug fit is good enough. We're not going to be using thread lock either, because we are screwing into plastic. Thread lock is used for aluminum, metal, or metal. We'll be using thread lock a little bit later. After we've constructed our Ackerman plate, we want to go ahead and insert our bearings. We get ball bearings of 4x7 by 2.5. Can help with the movement of the Ackerman plate, along with the bell cranks installation. Let's grab hold of our bell cranks and our 8mm button head screws. Now here, once we've screwed in the bell cranks, to tighten down on the screw, there's a specific wrench that's needed, a small wrench, which I don't have, and so I use the needle nose pliers. You can do so by clamping down on the flat side of that tightening screw and just tighten down on it, and that should suffice. Moving on to the bulkhead, we want to first insert our bearings, front and back side, and then follow that with the insertion of the 10-tooth input pinion gear. Make sure that the flat side of that gear shaft is facing upward as we place the coupler with the hole on top of the flat side. Here we're going to use thread lock, so let's thread our set screw and tighten down nice and snug. Adding more bearings, here we're going to look to house the bell cranks to the bulkhead. Specific screws for that as well. Being that it is a new hard plastic case, we do want to apply a little bit of force when pressing into the screw. Be mindful not to use your electric drivers, or you can, but don't fully tighten down. Finish the last quarter of the movement with the hand tightening. You get a lot more feedback this way. Here we want to grab our 30,000 loaded differential, because it is going in the front, and we want to apply our black grease around the ring of the gear. We want to add our bearings to each side of that before placing it into the housing. Plastic side goes inside the housing, faces inward, the black side, and then we look to seal that with our screws. Tightening down, once again being mindful not to over tighten. If a snug fit is good enough, we don't want to continuously spin and strip the joint, strip the casing. And here, after we've sealed, let's start spinning that gear just to kind of get the black grease worked into the input pinion gear. And we're going to add the last bit of it, which is our plate at the very bottom, to seal off the front bulkhead. After having done so, you've completed